It's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon here on Wednesday, August 7th, 2024, what is possibly going to be the hottest day of the year. Right now it's like 98, 99 degrees. It's supposed to get up a little hotter. The good news is it's only 24% humidity, so the humidity is going to drop a little bit more to reasonable levels where the heat is a little more bearable. As for myself, I'm staying cool. I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt, blue jeans, and cowboy boots and a hat. And as far as I'm concerned, that keeps me plenty comfortable. Yes, I'm sweating like a dog. That's how your body reacts to heat and how it keeps cool. It's completely natural. It's actually good for you to sweat. And people pay good money to go to sweat lodges and things like that. As long as I'm not moving around too much, I'm perfectly fine. But to be the honest truth is, yesterday, my wife and I, we took our kids to a friend's house that had a swimming pool, an outdoor swimming pool. And it was quite a nice day yesterday. It got up to like 98, 99 degrees, but the humidity was super low, like 24%, something like that, which is still a lot more humidity than you're probably used to if you're from Utah and Nevada and stuff like that. But very nice day, very enjoyable. I just stayed outside. I didn't go inside at all. Just kind of enjoyed the warmth and the sun and other things. Of course, I tried to stay out of the sun. I didn't want to get sunburned, but I enjoyed looking at sunny areas. So this is the first time I've moved the cows since I brought them back here. So they've been here since Monday evening. And some of the cows got out. There's actually a cow down there, you can see. Blackie has decided to start her own herd. Looks like the dogs jumped in the water, keep themselves cool. But this was a bigger area. Probably I calculated 2.5 days, or no, 1.5, 1.25, something like that. 2.5 moves. And I came back here Tuesday evening, so 24 hours after I moved them, expecting to move them again, but there was still lots of grass they didn't touch. Of course, this part of the pasture was very heavily grassed, so it's more grass than what we're going to see in the rest of the row. But so hopefully this will be a quick move to the end. I'm going to leave this area open so they can come back here and rest in the shade if they want to. Looks like the next couple weeks it's going to be in the upper 90s, and then once we hit September it's going to start getting back in the lower 90s. And I don't know what the average temperature is, but September is when it starts to cool down a little bit, and then October is when you start to get nice weather again. So there was a bit of advice somebody gave me when I moved to Texas. I forget who, I probably read it on the internet somewhere. They said, if you're going to move to Texas, don't move in the summer because you'll hate it, right? Because if you're not used to the heat or the humidity, when you get slammed with that, it's unbearable. It literally is. But if you come down in the winter and enjoy their nice, cool, mild winters with the occasional snowstorm, and then experience the spring, and then kind of gradually ease into summer, it's quite a bit different experience. And that's what I found too, is we moved down here in December of 2020. And I just really enjoyed that first summer. That first summer was extremely mild too. It barely got above 90. The second summer, it got hot quick. In June, we were over 100 degrees. I think we were at 107 at the latter half of June for a couple of days. And then last year was kind of mild, but a little dry. This time of year last year was dry. And this year, it's just nice. It's been hot, but not too hot. Like, we got up to 80s in May, and we kind of stuck around in the 80s for a long time. And then at the end of June, it decided to go up to the 90s. And we've kind of been in the low 90s this whole year. And this last week, we've been in the upper 90s. So I don't have any complaints about the heat or even the humidity. It really hasn't been that bad. The really humid days were not the hottest days, and the hottest days were not very humid. So anyway, yeah, just going to move the cows twice a day, I think, to the end of the row. Just evaluate how much grass they're eating. I don't want to eat too much grass. One of the things I noticed is the northern part of my field, where the Bermuda grass is not growing that well, it's drying out. And the reason why it's drying out is we haven't had rain for a while. I'm trying to think, the last time we had rain is probably a week and a half ago, right? And as I said before, if it doesn't rain for 3 weeks, people start screaming drought around here. And it looks like we're probably not going to get rain in August. There might be a chance of a little rain, but not much. And dramatically, for the foreseeable future, up until mid-September, it looks like we're not going to get much rain either. So unless something changes, unless a storm blows our way, we're probably going to have a dry late summer which is what we had last year too. So it shouldn't be a big deal. And that's why I want to keep the grass lawn, to keep the moisture in the soil as much as possible. Give that grass, tall grass should have deep roots. The deeper the roots go, the more water they're going to find, you know, because we had a really wet spring this year. So anyway, not much else to add to that. Oh, let's talk about this a little bit. The two big bad words that you're not supposed to mention on YouTube unless you toe the party line 100% has to do with this big ball that we live on, and you know, temperatures changing up and down. A lot of people see the propaganda that's put out there about that topic, and they buy it hook, line, and sinker just because everybody's saying it. Like literally every chance people get, they say something about, you know, the earth and its climate and things like that. I'm here to tell you a couple things. Number one, as a physicist, I've studied this subject extensively. There is no physical basis, there is no scientific basis for certain gases causing the atmosphere to heat up or cool down, right? You can open up any chemical table or materials table. Here's number 48 coming to say hi to me. I'm going to say hi back. You can see for yourself that the different substances have very similar thermal properties, right? And what that means is even if you were to replace the entire atmosphere with those substances, it wouldn't change one whit in any significant way the temperature. You're going to get zapped there. Yeah. So that is something to think about, is that it has nothing to do with gases in the atmosphere, because those gases, they all behave the same, right? And you can look it up in a table. Now they come up with this mumbo jumbo about, you know, energy rays and reflections and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff is complete bunk. There's no actual scientific textbook written on the subject of thermal physics that talks about heat rays and reflection, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't talk about it in terms of temperature, because temperature is not a phenomena of how the energy is transferred or moved, right? Temperature is a much more fundamental property of matter. It doesn't matter how the energy got there or how it moves. The fact is the energy will move means that there will be a change in temperature, okay? And that's the important thing to remember, is in all these calculations we've done to model what's happening inside of these substances, never once did we have to think about how that energy was being moved from one place to another, okay? So this idea of heat rays bouncing off and causing things to heat up or cool down, that is irrelevant, right? To describe to you completely, 100%, this is what temperature actually is. Temperature is not energy. Temperature is a property of matter that says that if you were to share energy with that object, it would increase the number of ways that energy could be distributed, okay? And the number of ways that energy could be distributed is called entropy, or rather the logarithm of that number, okay? But logarithms go up as numbers get bigger, so it doesn't really matter that it's a logarithm. The idea is that if you have one substance over here, that if you shared with it 2 units of energy, whatever unit of energy is, and you had another substance over there, that if you shared the same 2 units of energy, those 2 units of energy would eventually end up in the object that has the greatest number of ways to allocate energy, okay? And that's all that it has to do with. Temperature has much more to do with entropy than it does with energy, okay? Has everything to do with entropy and hardly anything to do with energy. In fact, there are certain substances that if you put energy into it, the temperature actually goes down, okay? And there's some very strange phenomena that you can observe in nature with experiments with, of course, you know, you're not going to see these like out in the woods, but you can do it in real life. And you can observe that energy will flow in certain directions that are counterintuitive, okay? Because temperature is not energy. Those things are not the same, okay? And so when they draw pictures of energy rays or heat rays or whatever they want to call them, that's not how it behaves. That's not what's happening. It has to do with entropy, okay? Now let me get off my horse here and break it down for you, even simpler terms, so that you understand what's going on. The people who are hawking this theory that if you drive your car, you're going to destroy the planet, have lied to you up and down, left and right. They have manipulated the data. They have lied about how they manipulated the data. and they lie about lying about the data. Okay, they have been exposed multiple times. Okay, you think a certain cough that happened a few years ago that the media got you all excited about, you think that was a scandal about how certain doctors lied to you about what was really going on. Okay, that is nothing compared to what they've been doing about the environment. I'll just give you one tiny example of some of the lies that they tell you about the environment. And going back to an earlier video where I talked about this, I looked up a paper written in 1982. I got to bring the paper forward. In it, the person asserts that even if you accept as fact the testimony that people gave about the American buffalo in the Great Plains in the late 1800s, even if you take their numbers, okay, and you say that that's a fact, that it makes no sense, that it's impossible for the American hunters to kill enough buffalo to make a difference, okay? And the thing you have to understand is if I had 100 cows, and let's say it's 50 cows and 50 bulls, doesn't matter, and I go out there and I shoot 20 of them, okay? Next year, how many cows will I have? More than 100, less than 100, or 100, okay? And the answer is you're going to have more than 100 cows because those 50 cows are going to give you 50 calves. Let's say you shoot 20 cows. You just happen to all shoot all 20 cows, right? And so you only have 30 cows left. And so that year, 30 cows will give you 30 calves, and the population will be 110, okay? It's going to go up, okay? There are certain points in which case you can reduce the population by hunting, okay? But that was never reached with the buffalo or the bison or whatever you want to call them. The fact of the matter is in 1882, when the hunters went out to find the buffalo, they were all gone. The Indians also couldn't find any buffalo. The buffalo were gone, okay? In 1928 or something like that, somebody went out to the plains and they saw a vast field, a vast area covered in buffalo bones. And when he investigated those buffalo bones, he found no sign of violence. It's as if they were grazing and they suddenly fell over dead, okay? The buffalo most likely died from disease. They did not die from hunters. And that's just one example of the many lies you've been told about nature and about what's going on around you, okay? You cannot trust these people. They do not tell you the truth, okay? You have to ask for the data. You have to ask for the raw data, not the massage data, because they're going to take the data and manipulate it and change it and then give it to you. But they won't give you the raw data, okay? And then they're going to lie to you about where the data came from too. And this is one of the big problems in this industry is there's just a bunch of deceits upon a bunch of deceits. So that's how you know for sure. If you don't believe you're being told the truth, you cannot trust their conclusions. And I don't trust their conclusions. I know that they're wrong, in fact. Guys, have a great day. Take care and bye-bye.